Gormenghast. Chapter 20. When Titus awoke, the walls of the cave were leaping to and fro in a red light, their outcrops and shelves of stone flinging out their disproportionate shadow and withdrawing them with a concertina motion. The ferns, like tongues of fire, burned as they hung from the darkness of the doming roof, and the stones of the crude oven in which an hour or more ago Flay had lit a great fire of wood and fir cones glowed like liquid gold. Titus raised himself on his elbows and saw the scarecrow silhouette of the almost legendary Mr. Flay, for Titus had heard many stories of his father's servant, as he knelt against the glow with his 12-foot shadow reaching along the gleaming floor and climbing the wall of the cave. "I am in the middle of an adventure," Titus repeated to himself several times, as though the words themselves were significant. His mind raced over the happenings of the day which had just ended. He had no sense of confusion when he woke. He recollected everything instantaneously, but his recollections were interrupted by a sudden teasing excitement of the rich odour of something being roasted. It may have been this that had awakened him. The long man was twisting something round and round slowly on the flames. The ache of his hunger became unbearable, and Titus got to his feet, and as he did so, Mr. Flay said, "It's ready, Lordship. Stay where you are." Breaking pieces from the flesh of the pheasant, and pouring over them a rich gravy, he brought them over to Titus on a wooden plate which he had made himself. It was the cross-section of what had been a dead tree, 4 inches thick, its centre scooped into a shallow basin. In his other hand, as he approached the boy, was a mug of spring water. Titus lay down again on the bracken bed, resting himself on one elbow. He was too ravenous to speak, but gave the straggling figure that towered over him a gesture of the hand, as though of recognition. And then, without a moment wasted, he devoured the rich meal like a young animal. Flay had returned to the stone oven, where he busied himself with various tasks, feeding himself intermittently as he proceeded. Then he sat down on a ledge of rock near the fire, on which he fixed his eyes. Titus had been too preoccupied to watch him, but now, with his wooden plate scraped to the grain, he drank deeply of the cold spring water and glanced over the lip of the mug at the old exile, the man whom his mother had banished, the faithful servant of his dead father. "Mr. Flay," he said. "Lordship." "How far away am I?" 12 miles, Lordship." "And it's very late. It's night time, isn't it?" "Aye. Take you at dawn. Time for sleep. Time for sleep." "It's like a dream, Mr. Flay. This cave. You. The fire. Is it true?" "Aye." "I like it," said Titus. "But I'm afraid, I think." "Not proper, Lordship. You being here, in my south cave." "Have you other caves?" "Yes. 2 others. To the west." "I will come and see them, if I can escape one day, Mr. Flay?" "Not proper, Lordship." "I don't care," said Titus. "What else have you got?" "A shanty." "Where?" "Gormenghast Forest. Riverbank. Salmon. Sometimes." Titus got up and walked to the fire, where he sat down, his legs crossed. The flames lit his young face. "I'm a bit frightened, you know," he said. "It's my first night away from the castle. I suppose they are all looking for me, I expect." "Ah," said Flay. "Mostly likely." "Do you ever get frightened all on your own?" "Not frightened, boy. Exiled." "What does it mean, exiled?" Flay shifted himself on the ledge of rock and shrugged his high, bony shoulders up to his ears, like a vulture. There was a kind of tickling in his throat. He turned his small, sunken eyes at last to the young earl as he sat by the flames, his head raised, a puzzled frown on his brows. Then the tall man lowered himself to the floor as though he were a kind of mechanism, his knee joints cracking like musket shots as he bent and then straightened his legs. "Exiled?" he repeated at last, in a curiously low and husky voice.
Banished, it means. Forbidden, lordship. Forbidden service. Sacred service. To have your heart dug out. To have it dug out with its long roots, lordship. That's what exiled means. It means this cave and emptiness while I am needed. Needed, he repeated hotly. What watchmen are there now?
Watchmen?
How do I know? How do I know?
He continued, ignoring Titus's query. Years of silence were finding vent.
How do I know what devilry goes on? Is all well, lordship? Is the castle well?
I don't know, said Titus. I suppose so.
You wouldn't know, would you, boy?
He muttered.
Not yet.
Is it true that my mother sent you away? Asked Titus.
Aye, the Countess of Groan. She exiled me. How is she, my lordship?
I don't know, said Titus. I don't see her very often.
Ah,
said Flay.
A fine, proud woman, boy. She understands the evil and the glory. Follow her, my lord, and Gormenghast will be well, and you will do your ancient duty as your father did.
But I want to be free, Mr. Flay. I don't want any duties. Mr. Flay jerked himself forward. His head was lowered. In the deep shadows of their sockets, his eyes glowed. His hand that supported his weight shook on the ground below him.
A wicked thing to say, my lord, a wicked thing,
he said at last.
You are a groan of the blood, and the last of the line. You must not fail the stones. No, though the nettles hide them and the blackweeds, my lord, you must not fail them.
Titus stared up at him, surprised at this outburst in the taciturn man. But even as he stared, his eyes began to droop, for he was weary. Flay rose to his feet, and as he did so, a hare loped through the entrance of the cave, where it lit up against the intense darkness like a thing of gold. It stopped for a moment, sitting bolt upright, and stared at Titus, and then leapt upon a fern-hung shelf of moss, and lay as still as a carving, its long ears laid like sheaths along its back. Flay lifted Titus and laid him along the bracken bed. But something had happened suddenly in the boy's brain. He sat bolt upright the moment after his head had touched the floor, and his eyes had closed, as it seemed in that quick moment, in a long sleep.
Mr. Flay,
he whispered with a passionate urgency.
Oh, Mr. Flay!
The man of the woods knelt down at once.
Lordship, what is it?
Am I dreaming?
No, boy.
Have I slept?
Not yet.
Then I saw it.
Saw what, lordship? Lie quiet now, lie quiet.
That thing in the oak woods. That flying thing. Mr. Flay's body tautened, and there was an absolute silence in the cave.
What kind of a thing?
He muttered at last. A thing in the air. A flying thing. Sort of delicate. But I couldn't see its face. It floated, you know, across the trees. Was it real? Have you seen it, Mr. Flay? What was it, Mr. Flay? Tell me, please, because... But there was no need for an answer to the boy's question, for he had fallen into a deep sleep, and Mr. Flay rose to his feet, and moving across the cave where the light was dying as the fire smouldered into ashes, made his way to the entrance of his cavern. Then he leaned against the outer wall. There was no moon, but the sprinkling of stars were reflected dimly in the dammed-up lake of water. Faint as an echo in the silence of the night came the bark of a fox from Gormenghast Forest.